my YouTube friends! I posted a poll to this community last week with a simple question. How do you actually use OBS? And a bunch of you actually answered. Thanks. Now, only 30% of you said that you just live stream. That's it. Everyone else, 70%, is recording and producing content. The biggest group of all, 36%, said both, but mostly live streaming. But that still means that my streaming audience is already editing videos and figuring out the production side on their own. So basically, 7 out of 10 of you use OBS as a production tool. And I've spent years on this channel teaching you how to hit go live and almost nothing about what happens after you stop recording. Well, that changes today. I'm going to walk you through a full OBS production pipeline, the right recording settings that survive a crash, the handoff into DaVinci Resolve with zero transcoding, and a 30-minute edit workflow. We're also going to go through export settings that won't destroy your quality before YouTube does it for you. We've got a lot to get to, so you know what? Let's get to it! First, we need to talk about something most of you are probably getting wrong without actually realizing it. See, we've done plenty of discussion on how to actually stream, but not very much on the actual settings for recordings. So we're going to go over your OBS settings, specifically the recording settings. Most people set up OBS once for streaming and really never touch it again. But streaming and recording have completely different priorities. Streaming optimizes bitrate efficiency and you're fighting upload bandwidth. But recordings have no bandwidth limit. You can throw about as much data at a file as you can possibly write, and you should. So here's your new recording setup. Output mode, switch to advanced. You need this. Recording format, fragmented MP4. This is the easiest and best looking format for DaVinci to import, and this format has solved the corrupt on crashing issues that you used to have with old MP4 video files. So under the recording tab, encoder. If you have an NVIDIA graphics card, well, you should use NVIC H.264. In AMD, you should use their hardware encoder as well. As far as rate control, I record all my content in 4K, so I use CBR or constant bit rate and usually set that bit rate to between 50,000 and 60,000. And yes, I mean 50,000 and 60,000, not 5,000 or 6,000. Recording is different than streaming, and it's also in 4K. Audio. Now this definitely needs your attention because audio has to be right. So under output and recordings, on the audio tab, you're going to enable all the tracks, 1 through 6, all of them. Then you're going to go into advanced audio properties in the gear icon, and you're going to add everything that you possibly can. So your regular microphone and any other audio sources that you have in this slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, slot 5. So it could be guests, it could be Discord, it could be pretty much anything, but you're going to add all of those in individual spots so that you can come back to them later when you're editing, and they are super simple and easy to adjust levels or EQ or whatever you want to do. So just separate out all your audio. So when this hits DaVinci Resolve, every source is going to land in its own little lane, which means you can EQ your voice without touching game audio. You can duck the desktop audio during any key line or whatever you want. You can mute a cough and only hit your mic track instead of any of the other ones. I mean, this alone saves more editing time than any other single setting that I'm going to show you today. Now, before you hit record, 3 checks. It takes 15 seconds. Do this every single time. 1. Canvas resolution should match your canvas and output resolution in settings. And then video. If you're recording in 1080, both should be 1920 by 1080. Do not check rescale output. I covered this in my last video. That checkbox is for streaming. Leave it alone for recording. Number 2, mute everything that isn't part of your video. Close Slack, silence Discord, kill your system notifications, mute your phone, all that kind of stuff. turn on your mic and test the levels. I can't tell you how many times I've filmed for like 15 minutes and in that segment realized at the end that I didn't actually activate my microphone, which completely wasted all that time. Takes a couple seconds, just check your microphone. And then number 3, you want to have a folder system. Set up the base folder for recording each title in settings and standardize your layout to suit your needs. You're going to be really thankful you did when you need to go back and change something or fix something later, or you just want to grab some footage for another project. Now, I usually use intro, body, and close. Those are the names that give me an idea of what each segment is for. Then, if I do any screen capture or voiceover work, I'm going to name these files so I remember what they are as well. I usually use abbreviations like SC for screen capture and VO for voiceover to make the names shorter and easier to find quickly, but you can use whatever setup makes it easiest for you. The point is to have a standard system that you use every time. It's a pain at first, but you're going to be thankful later when you need to come back to some of these projects. And you always end up coming back to something. Next, we're going to open DaVinci Resolve. Now, if you weren't aware, DaVinci Resolve is totally free. It is a really, really amazing piece of editing software. I have a paid version, but there isn't anything in the paid version that you need to do anything that I'm going to show you today. So don't even worry about it. Just get the free one. There's a link in the description. Open DaVinci Resolve and create a new project. I named mine the same as the project folder and drag the MP4s directly into the media pool. Now, DaVinci Resolve handles MP4s natively, so there's no remuxing in OBS. Just drag the files in. Now that you have your video file in here, there's a couple of ways you could do this. You can right click and go to create a new timeline. You just name your timeline and click create, or you can just go ahead and drag it down in here. And you can see that it has all of the actual audio footage that I created. Even if I didn't have any audio in that particular location at that particular time, those audio areas are still there. So if I change scenes or something like that, then the new audio will show up in the different scenes. This makes it really easy. All I can do is right click on here and I can go and unlink the clips, and then I can click pretty much anywhere outside of those clips. So let's shrink this down. And then I can just select the ones I want and I can go ahead and just cut them out. So if there are clips here for audio or whatever that I don't want, I can just select them, cut them out, and end up with only the audio clips that I want. I can go in here and name those audio clips whatever I want so I can easily remember what they are. Now we've got audio, and what I'm going to do is just move these up and move these up, and there you go. Depending upon how many different clips you get, you could have lots of different types of audio. Once we get just the clips that we want, I like to go ahead and highlight everything, right click and link the clips again, so that when we cut stuff up, it's not cutting this and leaving this the same. You want your audio to all be lined up when you do this. We can also adjust our audio levels, going over here for audio 1 or audio 2 and just lowering our levels. DaVinci Resolve has its very own audio editing tool over here. It's called Fairlight, and most of it is included in the free version, so you don't need to change anything up. But we're not going to really mess around with deep editing in this video, simply because I just want to show you how easy this is. Let's just say this right here is audio that was taken from the video clip that's behind, and this is my audio. And so if I wanted to, I could adjust this audio up by just mousing over this little white bar and adjust it up or down or eliminate it. And then this is the same way. If I want to adjust this audio down, so I'm just doing commentary over it, we can do that. Obviously, we click play right here to listen to what we've got. And then cutting. Cutting is super simple. So let's say we want to cut this phrase out. Well, we can just go to the beginning of our clip and just drag this over to cut it out like that. Click here, right click, ripple delete. It will cut the front out. Let's say we want to remove this segment right here. Well, we can go and select B, and it'll give us our little cutting tool here. You can also select it right here, so the blade mode, and we can just click that, and you can see it cuts our video and both of our audio tracks. Come over here, cut that, boom, and we can just do a ripple cut. It will remove those pieces. Let's say we wanted to cut this, and we wanted to remove audio. So we can just remove this audio, pretty simple. Take it all the way down so you can't hear it. And so now we're going to have audio here, but we'll just have the voice audio here. And we can, of course, adjust this level as well. Maybe we've got this right here. We don't like it. We can right click, and there we go. Now, I'm doing this in a way that doesn't use any of the paid tools. But what I would normally do, especially if I'm assessing a full live stream, would be to go up into our timeline. I would right click and go to AI tools, and I would do an audio transcription. So what that enables me to do, and of course this is a paid tool, it's one of the reasons why I paid for it. But the beautiful thing about DaVinci when you pay for it is you pay for it once. That's it. You're done. You never pay for it again. Even when they update it, no matter what happens, you get the update. It's the bargain of the century, especially considering how software is these days. So it's worth it to me. It's not necessary. You don't need to use it. You don't need to care about it. But I could put transcribe on, and then what that'll do is it'll transcribe all of the text in here, and then I can just go and select the text I want and, cut those pieces out. It makes it really easy to edit this. But once we got all of this edited up exactly the way we want, we can go in and do some really cool things with effects. So we've got video transition effects, audio transition effects. We can add titles, we can add color generators and effects and all kinds of other crazy stuff that we can easily add into any of this footage. So the thing you'll use most is video transitions. One of my favorite video transitions is the smooth cut, and I like it because it will enable me to transition from one clip to the next, and as far as the viewer will be able to tell, it will look kind of like a seamless clip. Let me show you what I mean. So we've got that there. I'm gonna click A, which just selects, and it allows me to adjust the length of this cut, and then I can click play. It will show you that transition, and there you go. You kind of see this is a really bad example because I have my arms down here, and in this clip I have my arms up, so it kind of morphs the arms which doesn't look great. We'll try one right here, see if this works a little better. But if you do it right, it makes it look like it's all one clip, and there you go. So that makes it look exactly like it's all one clip. Obviously you see some morphing in the background, but I'm talking, this is mainly the kind of thing that you would use for a camera or something like that. So let's go, and we're gonna select B, just the B key, puts us in cut mode, and we're gonna cut this right here. Right click and ripple cut, and that gives us the ability to add another transition. So there are all kinds of really cool simple transitions, from the barn door transition. We just stick it right here. I select the A key, which will select this right here. It's the same as that, and then make it how long we want our transition to be, and boom, there we go. So there are hundreds of different transitions. All of these are free, totally free. Check them all out. The other thing that you can do pretty easily is cut something out. I find that I do this a lot. Let me show you an example. We're going to go over here to our media pool, and I'm just going to grab an intro from one of my videos. Doesn't really matter which video. We're going to pull this intro in here, right? And we're going to just right click, create a new one, and we'll call this intro. So now we've got a common intro for one of my videos, and let's put some volume on here so you can see what we're talking about. Hello my YouTube friends. There we go. So we're gonna go ahead and cut right here, we're gonna cut right here, and we're gonna go and we're gonna ripple cut, right? So now we've got my normal standard intro. We're gonna ripple cut the rest. I just want to show you how easy it is to do some really cool features. So what I'm going to do is click the A key, which will select this, right? And I'm going to grab and hold the Alt key and just drag it up, right? So now I've got another copy of my intro. I'm going to select the top copy. I'm going to go ahead and right click and unlink the clips. And I'm going to select this second audio and we're going to just select cut. What I'm going to do now is drag this down and we're going to drag this up. I'm going to select this. We're going to right click and we're going to go to open in Infusion page. So this is basically a second copy of my intro video clip. We're going to select that intro MP4. We're going to go with Shift and then space. It'll bring up this tool select and we're just going to type in MAG, which gives us Magic Mask, and we're going to select that and add. We're going to go over here and select better, and then all you have to do is select your subject, right? We're going to select our subject as best we can. Probably messed that up by being a little bit off the subject right there, but it is what it is. Once you select it up so that you know it has a pretty good idea of what your subject is, all you have to do is go right here and this will track both forward and reverse for this clip. So it's going to basically remove the background 100% totally from this clip. Now when we go out here, you're not going to notice. You don't notice. If we go down here and we turn this visually off, then you can see that the background is removed. Why do we do that? Well, we do that so that we can bring in some effects. As you guys have seen my videos enough to know what sort of effects we're bringing in here. So I'm going to go over into our branding and we've got common assets. I have a folder for any assets that you use, audio, video, B-roll, stuff that you use all the time. I'm going to come right over here to my master and I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new bin. And I usually call this ACC for accessories, which is kind of weird, but either way I select accessories and then I've got my common assets. Ones I use all the time. I'm just going to drag that into accessories. Now I have access to all the files I would normally use. So this clip number 2, smoke clip, and you can see we see the smoke, but we don't see my background, you know. So if I turn this off, we see my background again. And I'll show you how to fix that. But the first thing I want to do is shrink this up, bring it over here, and we're just gonna go like this, and boom. And the other one that we use is the fire clip. Boom. Bring that over, and you don't even see that one at all, as you can tell from this, because it's being blocked by our smoke clip. And you're like, well, why is our smoke clip blocking it? Well, it doesn't make any sense. Let's select our smoke clip and we're going to come over here into the right panel here and we're going to scroll down until we get to Composite. In Composite, we're going to select Screen. And because the video asset for clip has a black background, what Screen does is it removes that black background. And we're going to select our fire clip and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to select Screen for that too. And boom. So now our background shows up and you can see what we're going to get here.
YouTube friends.
Alright, so what I like to do is, I know that the smoke clip fades out at the end there, but I also want my fire clip to fade out. And we can go use the same composite right here, because this has an opacity scale. And so what I like to do is put it like right here near the end, and then I'll just select our little thingy here, and then we'll go to the end of the clip, and I will just remove all the opacity so it removes the fire. So now the fire will fade out at the end with the smoke. Now I go to the beginning and I'm going to do the same thing. I want to put a keyframe right here for both the fire and the smoke this time. And then we're going to go to the beginning of the video and I'm just going to fade out both of those into 0 opacity. So now what you see is the fade in of the smoke and the fire, and then the fade out at the end. That's how simple it is to do the effect. As far as the sound effects go, I do the same thing there. I've got, let's see, I've got a fire crackle sound effect. And then we're just going to hit the bead, cut the fire crackle thing off, and then just cut it, right click, cut that. And then when we move over, you see these little white thingies here. And so we can easily just drag this and it will make that kind of little bit of a transition. And there we go.
Hello, my YouTube friends.
That's how you can easily, simply do the same kind of thing I do in my intro, just by removing the background on the same clip and then putting some pieces in between. It's really, really easy. Special effects in DaVinci Resolve, really easy. And that is the simplest one. which I thought I'd show you right here. Now let's go back into our master file, and we're going to go back into our initial timeline. And so here we go. Let's just say this is what we're looking for. We're completely finished. We've added all of our transitions and we've adjusted all of our audio. This is the final that we want to put out into the world. We can just go over here to deliver. And we're not going to get too complicated here. I know I could tell you guys how to color grade your video footage, but if you like how your camera looks, then you don't need to mess with it. I'll do videos later on how to do color grading and all that sort of stuff, but for now, I just want you to be able to edit your stuff, to bump the clips together, put a couple effects in there, and have what you want. So when you come over here into the export, you're just gonna put your file name in there, put your location in there, and then you want to go up to custom export. What I like to do, since I'm basically exporting to YouTube, but you can see it has all kinds of different formats and that sort of stuff, but I'm mostly going to YouTube, so why mess around? I know I'm doing it in 4K. Now I've got everything I need. I can normalize my audio by clicking here, add it to the render queue, and it doesn't like how I have it set up. So we're going to cancel that. What I'm going to do is go back into my editing thing. We're going to go up to File, and we're going to go up to Project Settings. And here I'm going to drop this down and we're going to select our 4K. And we're going to do the same thing right here because we know our footage is in 4K. And then we can go back over into here and we're going to have to do the same thing again and select our location. And then we're going to go to our custom export and we're going to select our 4K, normalize audio, add to render queue, and then we just select it and render it, and it'll take a couple seconds, but bada bing, we have a file that's ready to upload to YouTube within a couple of seconds. And all we did was bump some clips together and adjust some audio volume and that sort of stuff. We're going to get a lot deeper into what is possible with this software, but I just wanted to show you my quick and dirty workflow. I don't color grade. I don't mess a lot with audio. I like to get it right in the recording so we don't have to do that in the editing. I'll show you how to do it just in case you ever have to. But for now, I think this puts us in a pretty good spot. So now all of you folks who've been using OBS for production all this time know how I'm setting my production up and how I'm editing it, at least the very basics. And that means it's time for you to tell me what you want me to teach you about the process of editing with DaVinci Resolve, any of your live streaming clips or just clips that you create for production. Got a lot of knowledge in this area and I'd love to share it with you. But you gotta tell me what you want to know, so let me know about it down in the comments. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks to help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Fire Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.